me about your family.
My father was named David Williams. He was born in Scotland. One day, when I was a child, it was Father's Day in London. It only came once every 5 years because of the way the government works. We were walking down the street to buy a lollipop because I used to like lollipops before I decided to ban them. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Chuck Norris jumped out and picked a fight with my father.
Wow. What happened?
My father said this to me. He said, "Tobias, you see this man right here? His name is Chuck Norris. He's American, and everyone thinks that he's the toughest person in the world. But he's not. He's bloody American." And so that day, my father beat up Chuck Norris. And to this day, Chuck Norris denies that the fight ever took place.
Interesting. Were you close to your father?
I liked my father very much. He spent his entire life as a sailor for the Royal Navy. He was the sailor that said, "No, let's not be friends with the Americans. Let's attack them again." He was then held for treason and executed. I remember that day very, very well, because while I enjoyed watching the execution because it was an execution, part of me didn't want to enjoy it because it was my father.
Really?
And I said, "Well, all he did was attack bloody America. They're the bloody traitors. They're the ones who spilled all the tea in the harbour." This other time, we were walking through the pyramids, and all of a sudden, a mummy rose from the dead and wanted to take over the world. And my father said to me, "Tobias, right here, we're facing a mummy. He's very angry because he's been underground and buried for thousands of years. So, I'm going to teach him a lesson." And so he beat up the mummy that day. And he taught me that you have to do that whenever something rises from the dead. That's why whenever there is a zombie apocalypse, I will be the one ready for it. Because my father taught me how.
Your father sounds rather extraordinary.
I remember on the day that my father was being executed, my grandfather said something like this. "You know, when I was a boy, I once tried to overthrow the government of Canada with nothing but a bamboo stick. And to think I actually did take it over for 3 days. My grandfather actually took over Canada for 3 days with a bamboo stick.
You don't say.
He did.
Never quite had a case like yours before. But I'm afraid our time's up. So, love for you to come back next week. I think there's a lot more we should talk about.
Why would you bloody think something like that? There are plenty of things I would rather be doing than sitting here talking to a bloody therapist. And I mean this with complete offense. You should get into another line of work that's more useful, like flipping burgers or something, because at least that makes people happy. So if you wouldn't mind, could you just sign this bloody piece of paper that says I was here so I don't go to jail?
Very well. I did enjoy your story, so...
I'm not glad that you did.